I didn't quite know how to tell you that I really love to get high. Like I really, really love to get high. And I don't mean like the cute, music video high, like I'm talking like Kawangware Kibera falling off your tire into mud type of high, okay? Marijuana, cocaine, heroin, crystal meth. I love to get high. Now, I know you're probably thinking like, she's too cute to be a drug addict. And the thing is that if you have already Googled my name, you'll see that mugshot that's on the internet, which will probably fit the description a little bit better about what I'm about to tell you about. Don't do it right now. Just wait till I get done, okay? So let me tell you a little bit more about how this love affair of mine began. I was the type of person that flew to school on private chartered planes. I played, the kinds of sports that you play in teams with, fancy little hockey sticks and little short skirts. And the biggest responsibility that I had at that point in time was making sure that I kissed the boys that my dad told me not to kiss, and that I occasionally smoked a cigarette behind the chapel, or snuck a beer, and maybe a little bit of, and a sneaky little joint here and there. And with this life that I had, where I would drive through the Langata neighborhoods, and I'd drive up the hill, and as I pulled up to my gate, it would already start opening because the watchman had heard the sound of the Range Rover coming up the street, so already began to open the gates. And as I breezed into my driveway with our pedigree dog that we flew in first class over from South Africa, and our imported palm tree, which was the centerpiece of the roundabout in our driveway, I realized this is my life. I'm home. I get out of the range and I walk up to the door, the big oak door that has the custom-made brass knocker that says, "Nandi Kegode, this is your life." One day, my dad sits me down and he says, "Nandi, we don't have the money that we used to have. I can't afford to send you to university." I was like, okay, bye, but he's like, no, I really need you to understand, I can't afford to send you to school. You need to join the US military. I was like, no, okay? After diplomacy had failed, my dad sat me down again and he was like, look, this is the only option that we have, or you can go back to Shags. Now, obviously, I couldn't let all of this go to Shags, right? So I was like, let's go. And if that doesn't give you a little bit of an idea of where my sensibilities were at, that I would rather go to another country to fight another man's war rather than go back to my homeland, that ought to give you a little bit of an idea of the distortion that was going on in my mind. So off I went to the US military. And I wasn't happy about it. In fact, I thought that this was the most unfair thing that had happened to me in my whole life. How dare he? How dare anybody put me in the position where I have to work for a living? In the military, I discovered a new set of friends. I discovered the set of friends that helped to perpetuate those feelings of self-pity and victimization and so on and so forth, coupled with even better friends, pain medication. And I was like, this is it. I have arrived. My addiction to pain medication kicked in, threw me into a whole new gear. And what I didn't realize was that I was slowly eating away at everything inside my body. And I became depressed, And the depression got so deep and it got so dark so quickly that I began to question, why was I alive? Like, why am I living? What point is there to me being here? I was suffering so much that I contemplated taking my life. And as I contemplated taking my life, I decided the best way for me to do that was to take a bunch of sleeping pills, which I did. And when I woke up, I was so angry. I was like, God, I can't even do this right. So with that frustration and that anger, I took it out on everything in my environment. I took it out on all of the people that supposedly loved me. I took it out on my friends. And I decided that the only friends that I needed were my pain pills, my marijuana, and my cocaine. And me and my friends saw myself out of the US military. We came back home because I thought, as long as I can get back to Kenya, as long as I can get back to all of you, my life will be okay. I'll be fine. That didn't happen. I turned into a completely different human being. I was a rage monster. I was so full of anger and frustration because I was told at the schools that I went to, as long as I passed my common entrance, I did my A-levels, I got into a good university, my life would be set. It would be laid out for me. What am I doing here? My parents got so frustrated, they got so scared because I was so abusive towards the rest of my siblings that they threw me out. And I said to myself, well, if my own parents are going to throw me out, then I should just run away. And I did. I ran away, and I didn't contact my family for 2 years. 2 years, they had no idea where I was. But during those 2 years, I accumulated more friends. Heroin and crystal meth. Now, I can't really explain to you in a way that you could possibly understand my love affair with that drug called heroin, okay? It speaks my language. It's custom made for me. It is the most beautiful, sublime thing that I have ever experienced in my whole entire life. And I said to it, look, I'll give you my family, I'll give you my friends, I'll give you everything I got. Just keep me happy, just keep me here, keep me in this place. Don't ever leave me, please. Eventually, I started stealing from my friends. I started stealing from my family. I had to make sure that I was there for all of my friends, right? I had to make sure I was there for the marijuana. I was there for the cocaine, because these were the people that were going to be with me until the day that I died. So I was on a full-fledged commitment here, people. I wasn't about to throw in the towel. Okay? So at one point, I was homeless. I was homeless in Las Vegas, and I'd just stolen a pack of salami from the Hard Rock Cafe casino. Okay? I hadn't eaten in days. And one of my really good friends, Crystal Meth, was eating away at my body, so I needed to make sure that I refilled my body so that I had the sustenance to be able to take care of my friend, right? And when I was walking down the street, and I saw the same types of girls that I went to school with, and as I walked past them and smiled to wave at them, they walked right past me. Like they didn't know who I was. Like they didn't see me. I was so confused, and as I was walking down to the women's shelter to get a bed for the night, I stood in line perplexed, and this other woman rolled up next to me, pulled up her shirt, and proceeded to take a dump on the pavement right next to me. I was horrified. How dare you? And then in that moment, she gave me one of those looks that said to me, and who are you? Who do you think you are? You think that you're better than me? Look where you are. You've been jailed. You've been beaten by cops. You have no home. You're stealing from your family. You have no identity. How dare you look at me? In that moment, I realized that I had been so foolish. I had deluded myself into thinking that because of the neighborhood that I grew up in, the places that I went to school, that I was better than someone who lived on the street. And that perspective that I shared in that particular moment made me sick to my stomach. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I could possibly pull myself up from where I was, because I was like, you are Nandi, Kegode. You do not go out like this. What are you going to do? I was down in that bottom of that pit. I was in it. It was so low. I didn't know whether I wanted to live or die. I knew that I couldn't keep feeding my friends. I didn't have anything left on my body. I tried everything, but yet the voices in my head just told me that I needed to keep taking it, but I couldn't sustain it. I couldn't sustain it in my body anymore. So I had to do something different. And so I called all my friends to the table and I said, look, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, crystal meth, guys, I love you. But I don't think we can be friends anymore. It was the most heartbreaking realization that I've ever had. Because as the wounds on my arm started to heal from where I would repeatedly pierce myself with the needles, I cried. Because I knew that this was a friendship that I was never going to be able to salvage. I knew that the time had come for me to be bold. So as I stood on the precipice there, on the knife point, and the only thing stopping me from falling into oblivion was just a breeze, I decided that I was going to be of service. Slowly by slowly, I started with my cheek, and then I started with my teeth, and then with my nails, and eventually I pulled myself out of the hole that I had put myself into. It didn't happen straight away, but at one point during this climb, a child said to me in a school that I worked in, she said, Miss Nandi, I love you. You love me? I don't love me. How can you love me? And I thought to myself, that's my purpose right there. To children. To be of service to the children of this world. And so I fought, and I left my friends behind. And I found myself in the position to finally be empowered to be of service to my fellow man. There is nothing in this world that I love to do more than get high. But being of service is the greatest high I've ever known. So to all the young people out there that might not know where the direction is going, or to any of you who might not understand why it is that you do what you do, or what it is in life you're preparing yourself for, just understand that you're the only person in this entire world that sees the world the way you do. And if you were not here to experience the world the way you do, the world's just not going to have that. And while you may seem so small in such an infinitesimal universe, you are so important because you are the only one of your kind. School is important, but it is not everything. There is nothing more that I learned than from the school of life. Okay? Do the best you can to discover your purpose, and when you do, be bold. Be foolish, but best of all, be of service.